And so if you do all these things that I've mentioned in this video, you are going to change your life. Do you ever remember the time when people used to post on Facebook the statuses that would be like this and I'll write a paragraph about you? So at the time, everyone was on Facebook, and of course you just added anyone that you knew from school. And I would see these statuses and I would like them. Ironically though, I would always get the reply of, "I love how you don't care and you're so confident in yourself." Sorry, what? I never used to believe that I was that confident, but it seemed like many people actually did think I was. And it used to surprise me because I never really felt confident in myself, yet people used to think that I was. But I guess they were right. I, in school, used to kind of just do whatever I wanted. I wasn't really too bothered about the fashion trends or, you know, the latest makeup, apart from Dream at Mousse. But there was just nothing that kind of bothered me. I would just do what I wanted. I'd go to gigs sometimes on my own, and it never really mattered too much to me about not really having that many friends to kind of hang out and do everything with. And I think when people looked at me doing all these things, you know, like just doing sports, doing creative stuff, doing whatever I wanted, it probably made people think that I was actually really confident because I could do these things on my own. Kind of accepted my fate that, you know what, I'm probably not gonna have like a super tight friendship group like some people do. So I'll just make the best of what I got. And that's what I did. Then I went to uni, and as I've got older, I've definitely noticed an increase of just becoming more insecure. And I don't know why. I don't really understand why it happens. It seems like everyone also goes through the stage where suddenly we start caring more about what people think. But you have to understand that isn't very attractive. It's not going to make you magnetic to other people because all it's revealing is that you have insecurities and you're not very good at hiding them. Now, as sad as that sounds, people generally want to connect with people that are confident in themselves because they aren't confident in themselves and they're looking for someone to kind of make them feel better. I think when you're around another confident person, you tend to feel a little bit better. Not about yourself in that sense, but you just feel good because they bring an energy, and that's what makes people attractive. You know, you've probably met someone before where they've just had this energy about them and you find yourself being allured into their sort of presence, and that's because they're confident. But being confident and showing as confident sometimes is quite different. Think of something that you know how to do. Now, if you were to teach someone how to do it, you'd probably come across as really confident. Do something that you haven't done before, and you're probably going to want everyone to leave the room and let you try and figure it out before you even show them what you're kind of doing. The thing is, if you're starting from the beginning where you just think to yourself, I'm not very confident in a lot of situations, identify the situations you're not confident in and then put yourself out there. You will not get better if you keep avoiding it. So if you are, let's say, not very confident at speaking to other people, maybe try taking like a public speaking course. Okay, it might seem like a massive thing compared to what you actually want to achieve, but the fact that you push yourself out of your comfort zone, you practice, eventually you'll be wondering what you were even worried about. So you have to practice these things, and you have to remember that you're not always going to please people, and you're not always going to be able to get the opinion off of them that you would like. Because if you right now went and asked 14 different people that know me what they thought of me, you would probably get a different answer from each of them. Now, you could then think, well, then who is right? Technically, they're all right in their own mind because they have experienced a certain part of me during a certain period of my life, and of course they're going to have an opinion formulated from that. And that's what you have to remember. Opinions are formulated from experiences. Sometimes that can also be related to their past experiences, and that's why they behave a certain way now. So you just have to let go of that idea that you're always going to be able to win people over, because if you set out to do that, you're going to lose all your energy, and second of all, it's not very attractive. When have you ever been attracted to someone that was trying to gain your approval and your acceptance? It kind of makes you feel a little bit like icky. When you're trying to seek approval, you're spending so much energy that could be better spent. The point that I'm making is that the answer can always change. It's never set. You get to choose who you want to be. So acknowledge how much potential is in that answer. Just try not to let other people get into your head, because otherwise you're going to be a prisoner in your own mind. Now, there are toxic people and there are people that do try to degrade you on purpose because they're just not very nice people. And this is what you have to break past. You're going to meet people like that in your life, and unfortunately we do all come across them. Let their opinion go. Let it go, regardless if they're a parent or, you know, someone that you're meant to supposedly be close with. You've got to try and not let that get inside of you, because this is a second point of what is really important to make yourself more magnetic. It's all about your mindset. Now, mindset really is king. It is spoken about so many times. I've done so many videos where I mention stuff about like mindset and everything, because I see so many people still not grasp onto the benefits that it provides. I have talked about this in so many videos. I'm probably still going to keep talking about it in other videos because it's so important, but I see so many people suffer because they haven't trained their mindset. Now, some of you people might be lucky enough to have had a really good upbringing and surrounded by wonderful people that have given you an amazing mindset. However, there's a lot of us that don't have that. There's a lot of us that haven't had that support. So it's something that we do need to train ourselves. And you learn about this by watching, you know, videos like these of people talking about their experiences, stuff like books that I've got on my shelf behind me, which are fantastic. There's one that is The Mind Management. There's another one, Atomic Habits, you know, your standard books that you always see being reviewed, but honestly, they are worth it. But what you have to understand is that your mindset really is the blueprint for your life. It's what is going to help you get back up and face the world again when, you know, shit happens. Every time you have a hardship, your mindset is what makes you carry on. So if your mindset isn't healthy, you're going to struggle. To quote Socrates, falling down is not failure. Failing comes where you stay where you've fallen. And with life, and some of us may know this already, but there's going to be loads of times where you're going to fall down and it's going to hurt. But if you invest in your mind and you focus on what you're doing, not what anyone else is doing, you will only become stronger. You will start to see how you react to things. You will start to see how you feel with things and learn about where they actually come from, because there's a lot of things that sometimes can be quite hidden until a certain point. It will come to the surface, and at that point, that's when we learn to deal with it. But give yourself some credit, because we can only improve on something once we know about something. So if you haven't known about a certain trait up until this point, then well done, because you've finally been able to see it, and now you can take some action. Now, it might be uncomfortable because you might see that there's a lot to work with and you're just thinking, I have no idea how I'm going to do all of this. You don't think of the whole picture, you just think of that small little step. But try not to think about all the time that you wasted because you didn't do this and you didn't put into practice all these things. And if you had done it sooner, then you would have been so much better now. No, forget that, please stop right now. We are not doing that. We are not going down that road. We are focusing on right now. We are in the most exciting process, because as we make these changes, as we start developing ourselves, you will start to notice all the other changes shift in your life. There will be people that will go, there will be people that will come in, there will be people that will lift you up, and you will start seeing the quality that life has to offer when you have a good mindset. Now, I'm not saying that you have to be positive all the time, because I don't want that toxic positivity. I do believe you do also need to acknowledge, you know, the shit stuff as well. However, you are always going to be able to pull yourself back from going down that little spiral and be able to refocus, reposition, and go forward. And you'll start to find yourself more inspired. Now, I don't know about you, but when you talk to someone that has that spark in them, passionate about something. I find that really drawing. Like, it draws me in to see someone talk about something that they're so passionate about, and you just vibe off of this energy, because it might not be your own personal goal, but when you're watching someone talk about something that they're really invested in and they're talking about all the positives, it kind of makes you think, well, wow, okay, this is really cool. And then your mind starts to think, well, actually, this is really cool, and it might be something that I can have too. Or they're celebrating something that they've learned. Maybe they learned something about themselves and they're really proud that they finally did this, and now they can finally move on with life. When you talk to them, it just draws you in. You feel lifted yourself, almost like it was your problem as well, but the fact that they figured it out, you just want to celebrate with them. And so you start believing in yourself more. And this is why it's really important to surround yourself with people that have a good mindset. I'm not saying that they have to have the exact same likes and dislikes as you, but just people that have a better approach to things, where instead of coming up with reasons why you can't, they come up with reasons why you can. And this is what it's about. We love hearing stories about how people overcome something where they've come out of the rubble of life, and listening to them speak about that makes us feel inspired. And I think this is the energy that we want to give off to people. If we want to be magnetic, you got to leave someone with a feeling of inspiration. It makes us feel like we could actually achieve it too. And so a good mindset will push past all the naysayers. You will hear about what they say, but you won't listen to what they say. You will be neutral in this situation, where if someone's talking about you, it's not really going to bother you because you're focused on your own work. And a good mindset gives you the discipline to continue to execute. Now, I'm not saying that when you're doing this work, it's always going to be great. When I say discipline, I mean remembering that when you're working on something, not every part of that experience is going to be enjoyable, but you still remember that to achieve it, you have to do what is necessary to achieve it. And so you don't leave anything to later, because later coffee gets cold. Later the day turns to night, and later you find yourself wondering where all that time went. And so you have to turn all your energy into drive, into focus, into passion, into purpose. And I think that's the really, really important thing here, is thinking about, what is my purpose? What's the purpose of me getting out of bed today? What is the purpose of me studying? Be ambitious, because we see those who have ambition. We see the dreamers. You might roll your eyes and be like, oh, that's probably not going to work out for them. Enough of that. We don't want to be like that type of person anymore. We want to see the dreamers and feel inspired ourselves that we also go out to do those things. Don't be one of those people that gives all the excuses of why they cannot do something, because that's not very attractive, is it? When you listen to someone just complain about all the reasons why they can't do something, does that make you feel like you want to carry on the conversation with them? It might even mean that you avoid certain topics around them because they just always put a negative spin on it. Muhammad Ali said, it's not the mountains ahead that wears you out, it's the pebble in your shoe. And sometimes you are the pebble in your own shoe. Negativity really doesn't get you anywhere. It might highlight a potential hurdle that you could come across, but the point of that is then to figure out how we overcome the hurdle. That's what makes us human. We're problem solvers. That's the whole point of why our brains have evolved in such a way, is because we think of solutions. And if you're holding on to the negativity, all it does is makes you look insecure. That is going to repel people, because we don't want to be around that. So be careful of what you say, especially what you say to yourself, because if you just keep talking negatively about yourself, then yeah, you're probably not really going to achieve much, because you're accepting what you've said to yourself. You've said to yourself you're not very confident, so you've accepted that. You don't go putting yourself into situations where you can get better. This is not what we're doing here. What we want to do is we want to challenge ourselves. Now, especially in a situation where someone has said, you can't do this, you're going to need to use that as fuel. You need to start getting used to hearing no, or we're not really going to go through with your application right now. Get used to it, okay? Because in life, you will be told no. There are going to be people that doubt you, and this is where you've got to find the perfect balance of challenging yourself. Now, obviously, there's some instances where we have to respect the no decision, okay? I'm not even going to go into it. It doesn't need to be said. The point that I'm making is that if you're not very used to hearing no, you're really going to struggle with this, because this is where all the hard work comes from. When we were working on our mindset, when we were working on kind of letting go of other people's opinions, when we hear no, we're just like, yeah, okay, fine. Maybe this isn't the right opportunity for me now, but I'm going to continue working on myself, because doing that, you're challenging yourself. You're putting yourself forward still. Even when people said, no, we don't want you, you were still like, yeah, but I still have some worth. So there's something in me that's good. And when you do this, especially when you've proven someone wrong because you stuck around, you did the hard graft and you achieved it, that feeling is euphoric. You cannot beat that feeling of finally achieving something. Now, I'm not going to talk about the fact that it does wear off. Let's forget about that. But it's so good. And you start being more confident. You start being less afraid of doing things, because you're like, well, I did this, so I must be able to do this. And that is the power. And it is so attractive, because when someone can stand up and be like, you know what? I'm not going to let that bother me. I'm still going to push on. That is admirable, because it's rare. Not many people have been able to successfully learn that and put it into practice. And so if you do all these things that I've mentioned in this video, you are going to change your life. So start breaking those limiting beliefs. Start being you. Start being who you want to be. And when you do this, watch what happens. I bet you will notice a difference.